Hello, everyone. My name is Ezenwai Abbey, principal attorney at Abbey and Associates, and I just wanted to take some time and talk to you guys just to answer a couple of questions. I'm sure, as you all know, and with everything else happening in the world, you've seen a lot about estate planning and getting your wills, and you've probably heard a lot about people last minute trying to get some wills together, getting documentation that would be beneficial for their family. Quite often we don't think about death and we don't think about what happens to our loved ones when we move on, and we don't think about how we can make life a little bit easier for them when we move on. So I just want to give a general scope of what an estate plan should be or what it entails, so at least it makes sense to most people. It is not simply just a will. Of course, a will does mention what state, specifically what you would like to do with your assets, what you would like to happen to the things that you own, because you have worked, you have spent some time here, and you have accumulated stuff. So that's what a will does. You most likely will want a living will as well, which is something that kind of states when you're incapacitated but you haven't moved on, what happens to certain things and how you would like certain things to be handled that relate to your person. In addition to that, a power of attorney is something that you would also want to have. A power of attorney kind of gives someone else authorization to handle things on your behalf. There are generally two types. You have a financial power of attorney and maybe a medical power of attorney, because you may not necessarily want the same person to be responsible for what happens to your finances and to handle what happens to your to you medically or to your medical choices as well. So that's just the basics. Of course, you begin to think about things as guardianships, in placement if you have young kids. And also, on a practical note, there are some other things that you will think about, especially if you have young kids. Who is responsible for them, who gets to make decisions for them, how they get to receive certain gifts that you would like to give to them, which is also where a trust comes in place, because a lot more people are more familiar with wills, and you assume that is the only vehicle that you have to make decisions and plan for your family or your welfare. But there are other things to consider as well. So do take some time to talk to an attorney that of your choice, regarding things about estate planning. If anything, this time kind of reminds us that as much as we have been here and we have done things and we have accumulated things, and there are things that we do care about. If we have property, if you have children, there are things that you want to try to make sure is handled in a way that makes things a little easier for your family.